using NLP to meet women. Stay tuned. This is Damon from NLP Gym, using NLP to meet women. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. This is actually a topic that I've avoided talking about because NLP in general has a really bad reputation for being involved with seduction. And it's funny because in other personal development models, people can talk about going out there and meeting women and sometimes even some of the racier stuff like seducing, and it's okay if they do it, but when someone in NLP does it, they often get blacklisted. Well, I'm going to step out on a ledge here. The reason I'm doing this is because I feel like I am sitting on a mountain of information about this, and there's a lot of men who suffer from not being able to meet the women that they would like to date, or the women they desire, the women they're attracted to. And I know that pain very, very well, and I'm going to share some of my personal story having to do with this. About 5 years ago, I was doing some NLP training, some more advanced NLP training, and I really had a moment of awakening to how unhappy I was in my marriage and that it just wasn't working. Suddenly I find myself single again, and I had been married for quite a while. I'd been with the same woman before we were married for quite a while. So getting back into the dating game, it was completely foreign to me. I did what most people do. I jumped right into a rebound relationship, and of course, like most rebound relationships, not surprisingly, it didn't work out. And so suddenly I was single again, and I realized that that rebound relationship was really about filling a void, trying to fill that void of suddenly being single again. And now I'm back right where I started, and I don't like it, and I want to do something about it. But I realized that if I don't really figure out what it is that I want in a woman and in a relationship, that I'm going to keep coming back to the same place. I'm probably going to keep making bad choices. And if I don't have the choice that I want in dating, I would probably just keep settling for anyone, almost, not just anyone, but someone who probably was not a good fit for me. So I decided to not get into a relationship for a year and just date as many women as I could, so that could help me figure out what I wanted. The problem was how was I going to make that happen? I own my businesses, so I'm not going to date my employees. I'm not going to date my clients, and I have no coworkers to date, so what do? Most of my friends are close to my age, if not my age, and they're married and they have kids, and their friends are usually married and they have kids. So I couldn't depend on my friends to play matchmaker and help me date. Then I looked into online dating, and that might seem like it's easy because you don't have to risk the rejection of asking a woman out. You know, the idea is that you find each other and you match, and then you live happily ever after. That was not the case at all. Online dating is very difficult. Most online platforms comprise 70% men and 30% women, so the odds are stacked against men. And let's face it, online dating, with some exceptions, but in most cases, is a looks game. The woman doesn't know what value you really have to offer, and if you have a great personality, because that doesn't come through on online dating. So she can't swipe right on your personality, so it's mainly a looks game. And if you're an average looking guy, you're not going to do too well. In general, if you're not a male model, you're probably not going to end up dating the women you want to date online. So that wasn't working out for me either. What I started to realize, and as I was realizing it, it was making me sick to my stomach, is that I needed to go out and approach women, and not in clubs, because I don't really like clubs. I don't like loud places. I like to be able to talk. And the other thing is, you have so much competition in a club. All the men are hitting on all the women, and so they're not usually very receptive to men approaching them, and I just didn't want to be in that whole scene. I'm walking around Santa Cruz, California. This is where I live. There's no shortage of very attractive women, and they're all around me, and it's like I can't do anything about it. I felt like I'm like a very thirsty person, and there's water all around me and I can't drink it. So there's all these beautiful women in there, but there's this social barrier that's limiting me from being able to approach them. And eventually, after throwing every NLP technique and tool that I could come up with to overcome the fear, I finally pushed through it and I started approaching. Now, this was very exhilarating to break through this social barrier right at first. Like, it was very similar to when I went to Toastmasters and started doing public speaking. Those first few times, it's like you release all this energy, and it felt wonderful. And I was still nervous, I was still scared, but when I would do it, it felt really good. And the really great thing is that most of the time my fears didn't come true. Even if a woman said she had a boyfriend or something like that, they often thanked me for or appreciated my courage and said, something nice to me about it, and said something like, if I didn't have a boyfriend, yes, I would go on a date with you, or something like that. So even the rejections weren't bad. I didn't have women cursing at me and saying, how dare you talk to me? But I was so nervous for the first few times that I would forget to ask for her phone number. I would forget to ask her out on a date. And so I would just leave. And she was probably wondering, why the hell did he approach me to begin with if he didn't ask me out? I got better at it, and I started remembering to ask for the phone number, ask her out on a date. And I started collecting a lot of phone numbers, and I started going out on a lot of dates. My social life just exploded. It even felt like it became a full-time job. And even when women would flake on me, I would usually have a phone number or 2 phone numbers or 3 phone numbers of women I could call and as a backup, and go on a date with them instead. So this was wonderful. It was taking a lot of energy and it was time consuming, but I solved the dating problem. But that was just on the surface. There was a much deeper problem that not only was I not solving, I was feeding it. And that was the original fear that had kept me from approaching women to begin with. The idea was I wanted to overcome that fear, but I was actually feeding that fear. And the more that fear grew, the more that I tried to counter that fear and beat that fear by doing more approaches. And it just got to the point where I was starting to feel really, really empty, and I was feeling exhausted. And the fear won. The fear finally beat me. I just stopped approaching. And as a result, my dating life went from great to, my dating life was the best that I could have ever imagined it. I had more abundance than I ever thought I would have in that area of my life. And it all just evaporated almost overnight. I decided to focus more on work and my relationships with family members, and I just dug right into that. But I couldn't ignore that I was feeling lonely. I still felt that fear, and anytime I thought, well, maybe I'll get back out there, maybe I'll start approaching again, that fear would pop up. I'd feel that barrier come up again, and it reminded me that if I went down that path again, the fear would exhaust me, the fear would win, and I would end up right back in the same place. So it felt really, really pointless to get back into it. And at the same time, I was missing that social part. I was missing that connection with people. So I buried myself in work, and I had a lot of work to do. I eventually finished an enormous project and realized that I had really, really isolated myself socially, unintentionally, but as a result of putting so much focus on work, I realized I had almost zero social life. And after finishing that project, I decided I had to get out there. I had to become more social. I really like women. I really like connecting with women, even if they're just friends. They don't need to always be a woman I'm dating. I miss that. I really, really miss that. And when I started thinking about it again, that fear came up. And I thought to myself, okay, I will just have to push past this fear. I don't care if I end up exhausted and have to stop later. I need to get out there. I need to be more social. I need to connect with people. I went out one day with the intent of approaching a beautiful woman. I felt that fear come up. I felt that boundary come up. And I suddenly had an unexpected insight. that fear, that boundary that I had never truly dealt with was all the rejection, all the humiliation, all the anything having to do with women, with social situations, dating way back to like grade school. This was a barrier that I had created to protect myself. And we all do it. We all have an imaginary boundary, and I call it imaginary, but it feels very real. An imaginary boundary that we use to protect ourselves, to protect our feelings. We need boundaries to make ourselves aware of our surroundings and aware if there are any physical threats, and those are really useful. But the boundaries that we use to protect our feelings are often disconnecting us and keeping us from building rapport quickly with people and from really connecting with them. And I suddenly realized that that's what that barrier was really all about. And I got in touch with it. I got in touch with all those really toxic feelings. And right there, I resolved it just by allowing that boundary to drop away. I just told myself, okay, I know what this is about, and I'm going to let that boundary fall away. And as soon as I did, there's a huge relief came over me, huge relief. And I looked around, and everything around me, people and even objects, I felt like I was one with it all, just like the Buddhist teachings. And it felt amazing. And suddenly, this beautiful woman comes walking down the street right in front of me. And I think to myself, I need to approach her. And she was very, very pretty, so my heart started racing. And that barrier came right back up. I created that boundary probably from a young age. I've practiced that boundary. I've used that boundary to protect myself, so unconsciously it just comes right back up. And immediately I think, okay, I can't do it. She's too pretty. She's too young. She was of age. She was much younger than me, though. And immediately I thought, okay, apply that understanding to this boundary. Let the boundary drop. Let the boundary fall away. And I did. I walked right up to her. I introduced myself. We had a nice conversation. I got her phone number. And then for the rest of the week, I did several more approaches using the same technique of dropping that boundary, and the fear was just gone. I wasn't feeding the fear anymore. I wasn't fighting with the fear anymore. It was just gone. And I felt very connected to people rapidly without even knowing them very well. Just walking right up to them, talking to them. And I started to feel more connected, more social, more open to everyone, not just women who I was interested in. You may be wondering, whatever happened to that first woman I approached? Well, we're still dating. It's not anything really serious right now, but it has continued. I hate to think if I hadn't approached her that I would have never met her. I would have never gotten to know her better, and I'm really enjoying getting to know her. You never know what opportunities you're missing out on. When fear limits you from putting yourself out there, from getting what you want, it hurts. It's painful. I know a lot of men are suffering from this. I know it from my own suffering. I know it from talking to other men and the suffering that they endure. I get questions a lot on my YouTube channel, and also men emailing me questions. They usually try to disguise their question, asking for help with women and connecting with women and meeting the women that they want to meet. So I know what that suffering is all about. So I've decided that I will create a program to address exactly this and to teach in detail and precisely how to overcome this fear so that you can approach the women you desire in any situation, no matter how pretty she is and no matter what the situation is, and connect with her. I don't care if she's even with a group of friends. I will show you how to overcome that fear. When you can do that, when you can eliminate fear and really go out there and do the things that you want to do, not worried about what other people think, or not worried about rejection or humiliation or any of those things, you will move mountains. You won't even believe the things that you can start to do. The confidence that will be generated out of this will generalize to many areas of your life. It will spread to many areas of your life, and it will open up a whole new world for you. If you're a woman watching this and you're wondering if it will work on men, yes, absolutely. This is what I'm teaching here is not necessarily about approaching women. This is about overcoming fear. The program I will be making will be specifically directed toward men who want to approach women, but anybody can use this to overcome any fears, especially when it comes to anything social. If you want to do public speaking, this will help you. If you want to just be able to network better, connect with people better, build instantaneous rapport with your sales clients and really connect with them. If you're a coach or a therapist and you want to learn how to connect with your clients faster and better and go deeper with them, that is really what I'm teaching here. It just so happens that I have a lot of experience in this area with dating, because what this really turned into for me was much bigger than dating. And really the truth is that when I solved that problem, I solved it pretty quickly. That wasn't the real problem. The great thing about overcoming this fear and overcoming this limitation, though, is that you can have a very rich dating life, and you can date pretty much as you want. However much time and effort you put into it, that's what you'll get out of it. So you can have I was going on 3 dates a week with 3 different women, and I wasn't deceiving anyone, I wasn't telling anyone I was their boyfriend when I really wasn't. And you do not want to deceive people or use this to manipulate people. It will come back on you. Karma is real. In different videos, I have explained how karma works in a very structural way that is real. So anybody who's out there using NLP to deceive people or manipulate people in a way that exploits them, it does come back on you. So that's not what I'm teaching here. What I'm teaching here is connection, not seduction. I have not created the training yet. You can pre-order it though. You can purchase it now for a discounted rate. It will be ready in September. Right now, I am going to open the doors to this discount for 1 week. So from Wednesday today to August 1st, Wednesday, you can purchase it for $97. And then after that, the price is going to go up. So you can still get your hands on it, but it's just going to cost more. So you might as well get in now. And I'm also offering bonuses. One thing I hear a lot from men is, well, okay, so what if I can approach her? I don't know what to say. So one bonus will be that I will show you how to come up with things to say naturally and will make you authentically interesting. So it's not about memorizing lines or memorizing scripts. Those things only disconnect you and distance you from people. So it's more about finding out more about who you are and being able to express that, and also asking people good questions that shows that you're interested in them. Bonus number 2 will be about healing painful memories. Most often, this is what's really holding you back. You have all these painful memories packed into this internal boundary that you're creating. And I will show you in this bonus how to resolve that, how to heal from that, and not only how to heal from it, but also how to use it to help you connect better with women and move that connection along faster by healing those wounds and actually using them to connect with people better, because we've all had these wounds, we've all been hurt. And so when you have that compassion for other people, you connect with them much faster. Bonus number 3 is confidence under pressure. For a lot of people, they might get to the point where they can do the approach, but they are so lacking in confidence and they're shaking and they're sweating and they don't know what to say next because they're all clamped down and scared. I will show you some simple techniques that you can put into use right away that will calm you down, help you reconnect with yourself, and therefore will make you much calmer, much more confident under pressure. Bonus number 4 is I will be showing you how to recognize when she's approaching you. Most women do not approach men. Now, I encourage women to approach men all the time, but they have their own fears. They also have societal conditioning telling them to not approach men because it's unladylike and it makes you seem desperate, and that's just all nonsense. Ladies, I think you should absolutely approach the men you want to date instead of waiting for them to choose you. You should get out there, and you can do that in a non-desperate way, just letting a man know that you're interested. And I find this extremely attractive, and maybe he's not interested, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, you could use all the same stuff that I'm teaching here to do the same thing. Women are usually much, much more subtle about it, and most guys miss these signals. I used to miss them all the time. I think back now, the times where women were putting the signals out there and I didn't pick up on them. and I missed a lot of great opportunities there. Now it's much easier for me to recognize when a woman is showing interest, and of course when she is, and if I'm interested as well, it's a no-brainer. So I will show you tips and techniques to understand how women put signals out there to show you that she's interested. If you're interested in this training, I will put the link down below so you can take advantage of this pre-order price. Check out my website, nlp-gym.com. There you will find some free hypnotic inductions for greater confidence. You just download it to your phone or to your computer or your iPad, and you just listen to the inductions. I also have some free sensory acuity training, which is a great place to start in your NLP training. And even if you have NLP training, a lot of people overlook this very important skill. So you can do this 30-day free sensory acuity training to really sharpen your acuity skills and your calibration skills. Check me out on Facebook for real-time updates on whatever it is that I'm up to or putting out there, or talks that I'm doing, or online trainings. And last but not least, if you like this video, please click like right down here. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you'll be notified when I put out new videos. Take care.